What is going on, everybody? It is Moonbo here, and welcome back to yet another episode of Scrap Mechanics Suggested Creations. And this episode is awesome. I have made for you guys a really neat warship, and I've always wanted to make one, and I think it was finally about time that I made some type of hover creation. So this is a functioning hover warship. It's got loads of features on the inside of it. So in this episode, I'm going to be going into it and showing around the inside and what it has to offer as far as features go. And then I'll also show you guys the sailing. So let's climb aboard, shall we? So we'll start off by just kind of quickly walking around the main deck here, up on the forecastle. So as you can see, there's a couple really neat mounted turrets on the front, and those are fully functioning. Well, they don't shoot, but they can be turned around and aimed up and down. Here, all the way to the front, just kind of a little post here, and that's a pretty sweet view from this front area, actually. So right here is a hatch that will actually lead you down to the, right to the bottom of the ship. There's the button there. So if I open that up, you can see that will lead to a staircase, which allows you to go right to the bottom. But we're not going to go down there that way. That's just a quick kind of access way. So the entire deck here wraps around the entire ship. As you can see, it goes all the way to the back here. So this is like a small landing pad, I guess you could say. I tried to make a miniature helicopter. I might use some mods to make a small helicopter for this build, but that would be a totally separate creation. And so one of the cool features back here, actually, if I hop into this seat right here, you can see if I press the 1 key, it'll put the netting down, and so that'll allow for some room for a helicopter to land. And there's also quick access to another deck down below, which has like a little makeshift ladder here, actually, that you can hop up and down. I do really enjoy this build because there is just so much cool stuff. Normally, I can hop out of this little area here. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time right now. There we go. So, it wraps all the way around here, so let's head on inside to the ship, shall we? So this area here is the weapons kind of handling station. So if you sit in that seat here, you'll see on the front, it's the one that controls the turrets here. So you can turn them left and right with W and S, and if you press the 1 key, that'll stow them down. Like so. And I'm really happy with the overall design of this ship with those turrets involved. As you can see, I also painted some like safety lines around them, which is some stuff that you would typically see on a ship. Now, before we go up, we'll go on this deck here. I didn't add too much detail inside here because I didn't want to create too much lag or have too many issues with the hovering. But this is kind of like where the kitchen would be, so this is where you would serve the crew. And I didn't put a table in here, but you can imagine you could put a table in there. And this is actually just like a quick access little door that'll lead you up to the next deck. But I like to keep that one shut. And so this is a staircase that'll lead you down. So this is essentially the crew area as well as the engine spaces. Now this is my favorite part of this build, actually, and I'll be showing that once we get up and hovering. But as you can see, there's loads of thrusters throughout the entire deck here. And right here, this is like the barracks of the ship. I didn't add too many beds because I didn't want to get too messed up on the hovering. And this is essentially like more thrusters here. And then back here, this is like, this is where essentially you'd have like a shower or something. So we will make our way up to the next level here. Alright, so up here you can see I put a little fire extinguisher there. And this is just an area that'll lead you out to the front of the ship on this level here, so you can have a nice view while you're sailing. And this is just a little sleeping quarter. And there, this is the hatch that would have actually led you from the eating area. So we'll go up. This is the final deck right here. As you can see, there's a couple cool things. This seat right here, if I press the 1 key, you'll see it turns on that radar that is located on the top of the mast there. which is pretty neat, which also in effect turns on this radar system. I used the new lighting all over this build, I'm sure you've seen it, and so here it's kind of like a radar blip, and you can see there's some more lights maybe for some contact. And then right here, this is the bridge. So this is essentially the captain's seat, which is kind of funny because it actually has no buttons, as you can see. The captain would essentially just kind of sit there and do his thing. And this is where the magic happens on this seat here. So I'm going to get this ship prepped, and we are going to go sailing. Now, before we do go sailing, I just wanted to show you guys the control panel down here for the logic behind the hovering. As you can see, there's a seat right here, and this is kind of like where you would monitor the stability of the ship. So as you can see, there's different logic gates here, and they will blink and flicker based off of their activation. So of course, if a thruster is activated, then it will light up, but if it's not, then it'll turn off. So you can see where the balance is, and you can actually see the effects of different changes to the system, right? So if I actually bring up my connection tool here, well, you can actually see that there's loads of stuff going on in this build. It took me quite a while to get it like working properly, but if you can see here, we can change a sensor, and if we turn it off like so, you'll see the effect of the sensor change eventually catch up. And so now you can see the stability of that sensor has changed. So I just thought that was really neat, and this seat here, you would essentially just sit in it and you can monitor the stability of the ship from this seat alone. But I think we should probably fix that back up. I think that was at 13, wasn't it? Yeah, there we go. So eventually, though, the ship will correct itself, and you'll see different thrusters change their configuration and start compensating again. So I thought that was actually a really cool little part of the build, is the fact that you can monitor stability. But enough of that, let's get sailing. Alright, the ship is fully prepared and ready to go. As you can see, it's now hovering, and it has a little bit of a natural bob up and down, which is what you would expect on a ship, actually. So let's climb aboard, and let's take this thing for a spin. And you'll just get to see exactly how stable it is, and a couple cool features that I have added to it as well. So we're gonna make our way up to the bridge here and get into this main seat. So basically, I've added a few buttons to aid in the control of this ship. So if I bring it up here, you'll see 1 and 2, those are the buttons that'll actually control the overall hovering, as well as the stabilization. A and D is used to kind of push the ship from left to right, as well as add some turning. And I've added 4 and 5, which are buttons that will actually rock the ship. So you can actually get a natural roll here like that. And 5 is the reverse key, and 6 will just bring your nose back down if it ever starts to lift up a little bit too much. So with that said, though, let's go sailing, shall we? So what I like to do is I'll roll the ship to the right like this, and then turn away from the wall. Or like you're turning into the wall, but it's actually pushing you away. And then I'll press W like this, and now we are sailing. So as you can see, it handles extremely well, it never bottoms out, and it does get a nice natural bob to it, which is what you would expect on a ship while you're sailing along. It doesn't really want to tip over, and like I said though, I added the natural yaw, so as you can see here, I can actually roll the ship left and right on my own if I choose to. So you can actually, if you had some buddies on the ship, you could definitely rock them around a little bit. And of course, it's a lot more fun if you have a couple people to play with, because you'll see that they could sit in the seats that control the guns and the radar and stuff like that, and I guess you could simulate the ship in full use a little bit better than just me sailing it around. But overall, the design of this ship, I gotta say, it's probably my new favorite build of mine now. I was not expecting it to turn out as good as it did, and because of that, I gotta say, it's my favorite build now. And I'm so excited. Very soon it's going to be up on the Steam Workshop for you guys to use. It's so much fun. I can't get over just how good it looks, how well it sails, and just the overall design. So let's bring it back around to the dock here and see if we can't get a nice dock to it. And it's really cool because you actually use the roll to your advantage for turning, and that's actually something that's true to a ship as well. You have to roll with the turns. Alright, and I wanted to use the water mod in this world actually, but because of the new engine, as far as I know, mods aren't working anymore, so they're gonna be working on the mod support eventually, no doubt. Alright, so here we are coming up to the dock now. Let's see if we can't get this lined up here. Nice smooth turn. Alright, now this is kind of tricky. You have to essentially lean into this a little bit, because it'll come back around very quickly. Oh, nice. It's always nice to have a smooth dock. Oh, bumped it a little bit, that's alright. As you can see, there's bumpers down there to kind of help protect the ship. And you know what, we're gonna move up forward just a little bit more so we can actually line up with the brow stand right there. Ah, perfect, right in the groove. So let's get off this ship here and have a look at it down on the dock one last time, shall we? Actually, whoa, wait, I think we're tipping. I think it's tipping. Uh-oh. Get back on this. I need to level this back off. I've noticed that if it gets rubbed up against the dock there, it'll eventually tip over, which is never a good thing. There we go, nice and safe. I'm gonna jump ship right here. Woo! So there it is though, guys. This is the warship and scrap mechanic, a hovering warship to say. I'm really happy with the overall design, and with the new engine update, it runs so smoothly. The lights on it look absolutely fantastic. Like I said, this is probably my new favorite build of mine, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. And if you did enjoy it, then make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for endless scrap mechanic, and you know, there's always more to come, more streams, more builds, and more epic stuff. So I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Bye!